Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Working Title series by Bar and Bench, where we bring to you conversations with lawyers who've pivoted paths and are now pursuing unconventional opportunities. Today, we have with us Manya Bhardwaj, who's an artisanal cheese maker based out of Pune. She recently launched her own brand by the name Wheeler's Cheese and has her own cheese production unit in Pune's Koregaon Park. Manya graduated from Symbiosis Law School, Pune in 2012, and she went on to work as a judicial clerk at the Calcutta High Court for about a year. After this, Manya went on to work with a boutique law firm by the name TLC Legal for about 8 years on the indirect tax side. Welcome to the Working Title series, Manya. It's so good to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Jelsyna. Thank you for having me here.
Right. So, Manya, since you worked for close to a decade with TLC Legal, could you share a little bit about your work at the firm and about your time in general? Yeah.
Yeah. I was with TLC Legal for about 8 years, beginning 2012. Now, TLC Legal is a boutique law firm which specializes only in indirect taxes. So the work involved everything related to indirect taxes, be it litigation, advisory, audit, and back in 2012, TLC Legal was a relatively small firm, and over time, the colleagues that I joined with, the managing partner, Mr. Vipijan, senior partner, Mr. Vishal Agarwal, they became more, and my colleagues over there, they became more like family and friends, and it was such a great experience working with them. I worked with TLC Legal in different cities. I was with them in Bombay, in Chennai, as well as in Delhi. So it was a great experience for me. It was great working with the team at DLC Legal.
Amazing. Awesome. So, Manya, after almost 8 years of working with the law firm, what inspired you to pivot to the creative side?
As I mentioned, Jelsyna, I had a great time, practicing as a lawyer, problem solving, thinking on your feet. All of that was great, but there was always, for as long as I can remember, there was always an entrepreneur's itch, and I think that was owing to the fact that I come from, a business family. So my dad, my brother, several of my cousins have their own businesses. I think my desire to be an entrepreneur stemmed from the fact that I belong to a business family. So over the years of practicing law, I kept, soul searching and kept sort of revisiting, why I was here and what it is that I wanted to do, and realized at some point that I will have to scratch that itch if I were to have any shot at finding peace in my life. So yeah, I decided to sort of take a break and figure out what it is that I wanted to do.
Right. And when and how did the idea of cheese making or producing cheese stem?
So I decided to take a break back in January 2020, and at that point, I was pretty clueless about which direction I wanted to, take go ahead in. It was all open ended for me. But the food sector was always a natural choice because I'd seen my dad, my brother, have grow a business in the food sector. So I always wanted to have, something to do with. I always wanted to do something with food, and I always gravitated towards dairy. I looked at several, things in dairy as well, be it yogurt or dairy farming or smoothies. But for some reason, it never became clear until my husband, who obviously knew how much I love cheeses. I love to eat cheese, to experiment with cheese. Whenever I go to modern trade or any supermarket, I just stand in front of the cheese section over there and just watch what they have to offer. So one fine day, he just suggested that I explore something to do with cheese, and it was like a eureka moment. Something just clicked. It's like a puzzle fell into place, and I never looked back from there. I started contacting people in the. I first reached out to friends who were in Europe because I thought Europe is a place where people are more likely to know about cheeses and what are the different types, what are the different processes. So I reached out to friends and they pointed me to other people. I started getting connected with people who are in the industry, and I realized that India has this small movement of artisanal cheese making, and this movement is made up of people who are so passionate, who are so vibrant, about what they do. And I sort of realized that I wanted to contribute. I wanted to sort of, be a part of that movement, be a part of this industry. And that's how I decided to, start my journey of cheese making.
Amazing. And what is the story or inspiration behind Wheeler's cheese specifically? How did the name come about?
So milk is a principal source of nutrition across civilizations, across the globe, and cheese making is essentially it stems from the necessity to preserve the goodness of milk and to be consumed at a later point in time. And there's this quote that cheese is a milk's leap towards immortality, right? So this requirement of preserving milk of cheese making has led to the birth of so many different kinds of cheeses across the globe. There's lactic style, there's fresh, there's hard, there's semi-hard, there's mold ripened. There's so much to offer. But when I looked and into the industry as it exists in India, I realized that while we as Indians are familiar with the idea of cheese, and thanks to big players like Amul and Britannia for that, we do not know about what cheese really has to offer, right? We there's so much unexplored. So the idea behind Wheelers, behind this entire thing that I'm trying to do is to communicate to people that cheese is not something unhealthy that you only have to use as in a pasta or in a pizza or in a burger, or neither it is something is it something very classy or elite that can be paired only with a great wine. Cheese is something that can be eaten every day. It is very nutritional. It has calcium, it has protein, it has good fats. It is good for it's good for infants, it's good for toddlers, it is good for elderly people, gym goers, you name it, right? Cheese is just a great product, as good as probably you say ghee is, right? They're both milk products. So the idea behind Wheelers is to reintroduce cheese to people in India and tell them that look, this can be integrated with your daily average Indian diet. For instance, poha and halloumi have become a regular at my breakfast table, right? They just work together. Now think of khakra, chundo, and a cube of cheddar. It'll add a completely different dimension to your food. So cheese is great in terms of health, in terms of taste. So the idea behind Wheelers is to bring cheese, different types of cheeses in a fun way to people, in an easygoing, approachable manner to people. So yeah, and as far as the name is concerned, I love making cheese wheels. Cheese traditionally comes in wheels, so that's why I call the brand Wheelers.
Amazing, amazing. And cheese making and producing is probably a very technical and a very niche field, which you probably have to have learned from someone else. So, could you shed light on who your mentors were, from whom you learned the art of producing cheese?
Yeah, so I started learning cheese from this great lady called Namrata Sundaresan, who has her own cheese brand called Keza in Chennai, artisanal cheese brand. And she is a phenomenal teacher. She's one of the best teachers that I've come across, in my lifetime. I look forward to learning from her even today. I've been learning for the last year and a half, and she continues to teach me to handhold even today. Over time, I mean, she has always been a mentor, but over time, she's also become a great friend because, in this industry, right, it's such a niche and a nascent industry. There aren't many people that you can reach out to for, let's say, solving problems, right? And you face a lot of problems when you're making cheese. It's difficult. So you won't find answers on the internet even readily, right? So you need people who have been on that journey already, who know what they're doing. So Namrata is one person who's always there to help you out, handhold you when required. The next person I've learned from is Mr. Saurabh Chinoy of ABC Farms. And I must mention that he is one of the pioneers of artisanal cheese making in India. And with the years of experience behind him, he had so much knowledge to impart, not only in terms of cheese making, but life in general. It was so good learning from him, interacting with him. He always had these little anecdotes he wanted to share from time to time, because cheese making is a slow process, right? You add something, and then let's say you add culture to your milk, and then you have to wait for some time. That sometime maybe an hour, 2 hours, depending on what kind of cheese you're making. So you have to have that rapport, and then you add something else, then you have to wait again for 3 hours, right? So it involves a lot of waiting. So you have to have that rapport with your mentor, right? That you can uh, stay with each other and talk, strike a conversation with each other during those long hours. So yeah, I was very lucky to have found mentors who I built a great rapport with.
Awesome, awesome, amazing. And so, does your experience as a lawyer in any way give you an edge in protecting the uniqueness of the cheese produced by Wheelers?
Well, to put it very bluntly, at this stage, no. At this stage, no. Cheese making and law are worlds apart. And like you correctly said, every cheese is unique to a cheesemaker. As every art piece is to an artist. So every cheese is unique in the sense it's a fine balance that the cheesemaker strikes between the science of cheese making and the art of cheese making, right? So if I'm making a cheddar and someone else is making a cheddar, even though largely the process is the same, the science is the same, but there will always be a difference, which is usual and common in any form of cooking. So it's the same with cheese. That said, I also like to mention that artisanal cheese making is very, very nascent in India, and it's a growing industry. It's a tough market. So uh, the legal framework as well is pretty unstructured, and it's pretty nascent. And hopefully, as the industry grows, the legal framework will grow as well. And at that point, when it does, I'm hoping that I'll be better equipped to protect the uniqueness of my cheese, and not only my cheese, hopefully everyone in the industry. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
Right. Taking from this question itself, is there like your experience as a lawyer? How does it help you in protecting or looking at the legal aspects of starting a venture of your own?
Honestly, Jelsyna, I understand there are so many legalities, there are so many licenses when you have to, let's say, form a company and register your trademark, so many different things. So at this point, if I were to handle all of that myself, as a business person, if I were to handle all of that myself, because that's what my instinct is, right? This is something, I want to. Myself, I want to open up the FSI guideline and start reading them, or figure out what are the forms that I have to fill up for applying for a patent, or and for registering a trademark. But the thing is, as a business person, I realize that it is more important for me now to focus on my product, than it is on these, legal aspects, which I know I can outsource to trustworthy people. So that is one journey I've had to sort of cover, from being a lawyer to being, a business person. So yeah, these are learnings. I do not look into the nitty-gritties of legalities and licenses at this moment. That's something I'm
Right.
consciously avoiding so that I can focus on the product, the sales, the marketing, those
Makes sense, of
aspects.
course. Yeah, right. So, what are the challenges that have come with starting your own venture from, having a very stable career, a job for like close to a decade to now shifting and moving as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur? What were the challenges like?
There were so many. There were so many. The first one was obviously I started making cheese. I started learning how to make cheese in 2020, which was during peak COVID times. So learning how to make cheese virtually was a challenge in itself. Somehow navigated through that. The next challenge was starting something small from my own home kitchen. It was crazy. The days I'd make cheese, my kitchen used to be a mess. You could say, like a halwai's shop, if I may. There was, food being cooked, and simultaneously there'd be a 50-liter vessel with milk being cooked for cheese making, and the domestic help would be divided between the two. It was crazy. So yeah, navigating through that was also one of the big challenges. Now, one very big challenge as far as cheese making is concerned is getting milk, right? So your cheese is only as good as your milk is. The milk speaks for itself. So several trials and errors were involved in finding the right milk, which would sort of yield a good cheese. Um, After I moved out of my home kitchen, moved into a separate production facility, there was a new set of challenges, starting from training people, handling production, how to get customers, marketing, advertising, everything. So it's been a journey, but so far, the highlight of it has obviously been cheese making, right? Cheese making is something that you constantly keep learning. You can always better your product, right? Yeah, I've spent sleepless nights over trying to make a good mozzarella, and mozzarella is one of the trickiest cheeses to make. It involves stretching the cheese in hot water. When I say hot, I mean 80 degrees Celsius. It is difficult. So yeah, every type the process of aging is challenging, right? You have to take care of your cheese every day for at least 3 months. The cheddar has to be aged for at least 3 months, right? So you have to take care of it, tend to it. It's called affinage every day. So that, and you wait patiently for the milk to come to its final form, in a form that you like, that speaks to you. So yeah, it has been a series of challenging, ever evolving, but that's what keeps me going. Every day is a new challenge.
Wow, that's amazing. And you mentioned about focusing more on the business side, and outsourcing the legal aspects of your business to lawyers. So, is there anything about being a lawyer that you miss ever since the switch of being an entrepreneur?
Absolutely, absolutely. Being an entrepreneur, starting out in an industry as niche as this one, it can get lonely at times. It can get very lonely. I do have a small team working with me, but I do miss the time when you'd have a problem. You'd have several people, colleagues, and great mentors around to brainstorm with you, to discuss with you, go to court for you if you were not feeling up to it for whatever reason. So there was more interaction as far as the legal side was concerned. There were people around. Though I have kept in touch with most of my colleagues and my mentors, and I catch up with them very frequently. So yeah, I miss being around lawyer friends of mine.
Right. And Manya, what advice do you have for lawyers pondering on taking unconventional routes?
Well, see, if that unconventional route is something that you can balance with your study of law, your practice of law, then it's great. It'll work out for you. There's not too much to think about. The real struggle actually happens when all the years you've spent in law become an opportunity cost for pursuing something that may or may not work for you, right? So, well, that's a struggle. The left and the right side of your brains will always be at war with each other. One wanting to pursue that unconventional path, tread on that unconventional path, and the other one wanting to stick to the safety and security, the predictability that the legal fraternity, the practice of law offers. And that's just a struggle that you have to sort out on your own. But the one advice that I will give is to reach out to people in the industry, in the new industry, and to talk to them about what opportunities, what challenges are existing in that industry, and where you might see yourself, where you might find your footing in the industry. And you'll be surprised to know how many people are willing to help you out, to give you information that you need to be able to make a better call for yourself. And then it's up to you to decide if you want to remain in this great profession of law or pursue your calling.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. All right, Manya, thank you so much for coming on board the Working Title series. It was really nice to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Jelsyna. Thank you for speaking with me, and thanks to Bar and Bench for having me on this platform and letting me express myself. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon.